This college football championship picks edition of the Sports Gambling Podcast brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Draft now or play Underdog's pick 'em for a chance to win 100x. Promo code SGPN at UnderdogFantasy.com for a 100% deposit match. We're also brought to you by Hall of Fame Bets, the sports betting research platform for parlays, player props, and game lines. Download the Hall of Fame Bets app or visit HOFBets.com. Use code SGPN to get 50% off your first month and start making smarter bets today. We're also brought to you by the Hockey Gambling Podcast brand new YouTube page. The hockey guys are giving away a hoodie to celebrate their new YouTube channel. Register today at sportsgamblingpodcast.com/HGP.
Hey, this is Larry the Cable Guy, and you're listening to SGPN. Let her run and get her done.
Welcome everyone to the Sports Gambling Podcast. I'm Sean, second the money green with my partner in picks, Ryan, Real Money Kramer. What's happening, Kramer?
Dog.
G'day, mate.
G'day.
See what I did there?
Yeah, you're welcoming our guest.
No, preemptive strike.
From down under, Pick Dundee. What's happening, Colby?
Just dominating the Invitational. Tried to warn you guys. You know, it's okay.
On. Alabama. I mean, I'll take the loss on Alabama, but that was not a bad pick. They didn't, dude. Did you watch the game?
Yeah, that was a bad pick.
That was a bad pick. They got dominated for 3 quarters.
They needed like 3 to 4 extremely.
They're very lucky.
Events
They're very lucky that they were like. That was Nick Saban's best coaching job ever, but Alabama got dominated, and that was an incredibly flawed team, and they did not belong in the playoffs.
How many yards did the quarterback throw for? I know that was
one. What was it? 116.
I know that was something.
I mean, if they could get a snap, they would have been fine. Or if they wouldn't have fumbled without a non-contact fumble.
Well, I mean, they got all their points off of Michigan shit in the bed, like fumbling the punt return, missing the extra point. You know what I mean? Like all of Michigan's opportunities of shitting the bed. I thought my handicap was perfect. I thought, Jalen Milroe and Alabama is extremely flawed this year. Their offensive line is the worst it's been since 2008. And he can't throw down the field. He only connected, I think, 1 pass that was probably longer than 15 yards. Well, and
the irony of the fact that the big marquee non-conference matchup that was most discussed in playoff committee context was the fact that Alabama lost to Texas. That was why Texas got in.
Yeah.
Both those teams not in the championship.
Oh, wow.
Maybe we look a little closer at that one.
Well, we can also talk about how if you pay attention to recruiting rankings, Alabama had the highest ever recorded based on a 4 or 5 year composite for the CFP, 18 5-stars, and they lost to a team with 2 5-stars and kind of got dominated majority of the game. I know the game went to overtime. That's a testament to Nick Saban doing a great fucking coaching job.
I mean, that was part of, I thought he was going to out coach Harbaugh, and I think he kind of did.
I don't know. I think that's because they Michigan definitely defensively. I think Alabama's offense could do nothing. Their offense was basically let's drop back to pass and Jalen Milroe run.
I mean, I did think Alabama's offense didn't look that far off what Florida State's offense probably would have looked like.
No, I think Florida State. This is why Florida State belonged in. Is Rodermaker. Remember in the ACC championship, we saw the 3rd string Florida State quarterback. We didn't see the 2nd string. 2nd string is actually somewhat decent, and they have NFL wideouts. Both those guys are NFL wideouts. Trey Benson is a NFL running back. That's the thing about this Alabama team is I think they don't have the Julio Jones. They don't have the Derrick Henry. They don't have the offensive line they used to have. That's why all year I was surprised. I was on Auburn money line that didn't hit some magically.
They didn't have anyone.
They were a flawed Alabama team. This is his best coaching job of his career, in my opinion. But in my opinion, like if
Alabama had lawn chairs at every position, except for quarterback.
But to me, the committee to say the things they said about Florida State and put Alabama in at an extremely flawed Alabama.
Yeah, but they did win the SEC.
Sure.
I both am fine.
It was a magical season. That's why Saban should be coach of the year, maybe.
Yeah, I mean the committee's just lucky that Florida State lost by 60 points in the bowl game, so no one's talking about it. So it doesn't matter.
That's not their team.
I know,
that's not their team.
But that's reality, and that it doesn't matter. And I think at the end of the day, yeah, I mean Nick Saban would probably agree and say himself this.
Yeah,
because I think we discussed this earlier on this show that Nick Saban repeatedly had kind of pointed out how this team was really getting all the juice out of the fruit.
Yeah, I mean, look,
even though they had all those recruits, they kind of needed to perform on the edge to get stuff done, and that's why they had all those close games. That's why they needed that crazy ass play against Auburn.
They were 111th in protecting the quarterback, so in sacks, essentially given up. So that would never happen with the great Alabama team. And you even saw it with Michigan. Michigan had 6 sacks. I don't know how many pressures they had. Alabama had 1 sack, and even that sack was nonsense because it was the trick play to the Michigan quarterback who ran out of bounds. He ran out of bounds, so it wasn't even a sack.
You read after the fact. I know it's easy in hindsight, but the Michigan players talking about how they were pushing Alabama around.
Yeah,
you don't hear about. If Alabama has been one thing under Nick Saban, it's a team that doesn't get pushed around. And so it's one thing for Georgia.
Everyone starts dropping bags. Look out.
Well, that's the question I would ask you is, even though Saban did an unbelievable coaching job, you wonder all those years where they did win, there was only probably about 10, 12 schools really dropping a lot of bags. Credit to him winning those. But if you look at since the NIL's gone, since it's been legal, he hasn't won anything.
Yeah. I mean, he still put out, still pretty good season point, for Alabama.
This team still had the top composite, whatever recruiting metric you were using. So to say, I mean, they're still doing it. Obviously, if anything, they underperformed the players they had on the squad.
Yeah,
this year.
Well, it just makes you wonder though, because other states, other schools can grab players that potentially they would have got, but I don't know.
Look at all the coaches. Like we were discussing this before the show. I think Harbaugh, clearly a good coach. He's been successful at every level.
I think
including
he's a great coach.
Including non-scholarship San Diego,
and give him some credit for that 4th and 2 call, because a lot of coaches would have punted right there.
I thought, the idea that they are doing this under the microscope of these allegations is also, you have to give them. I know they're the ones that cheated, but you also have to give some level of credit to create a place where the players are not distracted. If anything, it's being used for focus. And then on the other side, Washington's coach had success at many levels.
Well, Harbaugh's an FCS coach.
Well, that's what
Washington,
I'm saying.
DeBauer, NAIA.
Coaching matters. Maybe coaching matters more in this new NIL era is what I'm saying. Maybe it matters more to have a guy that doesn't just know how to drop a bag, knows how to, once the players are in the building. Because if you, what does Saban, Harbaugh, and DeBauer all have in common? They develop players well. They understand how to develop their players. That's why they've been successful at lesser schools.
I do think if you let Saban, he's not going to tell you this now, but I think let it go a year or so, let him retire or something. He'll tell you that I think he knows that this is his worst team since 08. From a talent perspective, you look all those years, man.
You say they get the highest number of 5 stars, but then why is this their worst?
Well, that's why I'm saying they mismarket. To me, the recruiting rankings are bullshit. Well,
some of it has to be development, but I think Saban has a pretty good track record of developing good teams. Even if it's because he's getting the best players, he always has a type.
I agree a little bit, but I'm like Julio Jones. You don't need to develop Julio Jones or Derrick Henry.
Receivers, you're right. But the way they always
develop Derrick Henry.
They always have the same kind of defensive linemen. They always have the same kind of linebackers.
The defense was still good. But to me,
the reason their cornerbacks often fail in the NFL is because they're physical guys who hit and are probably better college football players than they'll ever be as measurable pros. And then on the offensive side, the part they don't have is they always have awesome offensive linemen.
They normally have awesome wideouts too, and normal and awesome running backs and awesome offensive linemen. They don't have that on this team. They have
regular dudes all over the place. And so why did the best recruiting class ever turn into a bunch of dudes? I don't know.
Well, I mean, I guess you could ask yourself the same question. Texas had the number 6 recruiting composite out of those 4 years. Guess what? Washington didn't even chart in the top 25. They were 26, 0 5 stars. Oh my God. 0 5 stars. And
how'd they win the game, Colby?
Yeah, they never even trailed. Never even trailed. Texas, you got a gift to make the CFP. You never once had the lead in the CFP, and now you're entering the SEC. can we say Arkansas 2.0?
I mean, who do you blame there? I think Minister of Culture, right? Matthew McConaughey.
Does he take any blame?
I mean, it was a real, culture losing effort there for Texas. Penix came in, was just throwing the ball all around the field. Like, it's tough.
No, because
why do they keep making this Penix guy an underdog? I don't get it.
Well, and to me, I thought, I will talk shit again. I thought the handicap was perfect on the fact that Texas's pass defense didn't play any good quarterbacks. Like even Dylan Gabriel, I don't think is a guy that really stretches the field. And they lost to Dylan Gabriel. But at one point, Washington's wide receivers were targeted 20 times. No, this is for the whole game. 20 times. They caught 19 of them for 353 yards and 2 touchdowns. I mean, they got everything they wanted. It
does seem like a lot of people were introduced to the NFL caliber receivers on the Washington roster. It did seem like a lot of the crowd that was zooming into college football was completely unaware that there's a dude on Washington who might go ahead of Marvin Harrison. Probably not, but I think now people are going to start having that conversation. Like the NFL crowd, they raised their eyebrow and they said, "Oh, is this Jamar Chase? Is this Odunze character? Is he Jamar Chase? Is he the guy that we should be talking about?"
Guys, Jalen Polk,
but I'm just saying the entire, as someone who's more in NFL social media stuff, you saw a lot of people all of a sudden running to like compare Odunze to various awesome NFL receivers. Ask, are we sure Marvin Harrison is wide receiver 1? Like those types of things.
I mean, another thing is Kalen DeBauer, like.
Oh, again, you nailed it. Him with time to prepare. He's great. He's coach.
Really fucking good. Yeah, yeah.
And I think Sarkisian. We did also nail the handicap of Sark on Bourbon Street.
Yeah, he's little. He got caught up in the hurricane.
Yeah, and as we learned, we were Colby and I were listening to the College Football Inquirer before this, but we learned that ESPN throwing on one of the channels had the Bourbon Street cam. Yeah, and
saw the boob come out.
Like who greenlit that without any sort of delay? Like what'd you think? You could shoot that at any time. It doesn't have to be live.
Yeah, boobs out on Bourbon Street, man.
I mean, it feels normal, but it's like if you go to the savannah, you're gonna see some fucking wild animals.
All right.
No, that's. You got any takes, Sean?
Yeah. I mean, I thought Washington really played well. I mean I thought they were a live dog. Thought it was crazy that they were favored, but they really handled them. To Colby's point, like they weren't down in that game at all. I guess that was slightly surprising to me.
They got to fix that rule though about the injury because that gave Texas life.
Yeah, I would say I guess I thought they would win. I mean, I picked them, but them dominating in the way they did, I guess, was surprising. I thought it'd be a little bit more of a game.
I don't think Quinn Ewers is there yet as an offensive. He's a decent college quarterback, but he's not elite. I thought he was the clear with Milroe's ability to run the ball. I actually thought Ewers was the clear weakest link of the 4, just because with Alabama's other players, I thought Milroe can still burn you. So you have to be able to he's more of a threat. With Ewers, he's streaky. There's times where he looks really good. There's times where he looks really bad, and to me, that's a flaw in their team right now. But I'm sure he'll be better next year. He did take a big step forward from his freshman year to his sophomore year.
Got a ton of experience. Yeah. That was the other thing. Like he's way younger and didn't play in any barely big games before this.
He is a lawn chair though.
Yeah,
I saw him trip over his own foot. True lawn chair.
What about Penix?
Remember when he went to Ohio State just to rob someone in Ohio and then come back to Texas?
Yeah, that's true. That was a legal robbery right there.
Because
investigate for money laundering.
He left high school early, if you remember. That's
he
why
had the Bosworth haircut. That's really why he lost this game. Yes. He got rid of the mullet.
Been the same since he got rid of his hair.
You got to own.
Since we learned that the mullet was not authentic and it was a bit, he's. Yeah. I mean, he went from a guy people were talking about could be a sleeper in this year's draft.
Oh yeah.
But another thing that I thought Washington did a great job of with defensive game plan is everyone talks shit about Washington's defense. I actually think they played pretty damn good considering. Yes, they give up some big yardage at times, but I thought they did a great job of limiting the big plays because Texas has done that all year where they're able to get their wideouts deep. If anything, Texas struggled with their red zone offense all year. I think they were one of the 10 worst teams in the nation. They also struggled with the intermediate game. And Washington basically said, if you're going to beat us, you're going to have to beat us that way.
Colby really did nail it. Now that he's recapping how bad he nailed the handicap. I mean, he really did nail the handicap because, and on top of that, it was like the Texas safeties were they were just, it was like they were completely unaware that they were going to get attacked.
Yeah. I think you have to pay attention to stuff like that. Texas Texas, great season considering, but I'm saying you did play 7 backup quarterbacks. You did not play very elite quarterbacks. And I think that's another thing Michigan should pay attention to, because when you look at Michigan playing Penix, who's the best quarterback Michigan played all year? It's probably Tolia at Maryland. It really is.
To his younger brother. All right.
From a passing standpoint.
Yeah. No, you're probably right. That's not a good place to be.
Penix ball placement was amazing. Ryan, where do you think he goes in the NFL draft? Because as you pointed out, he's almost the same age as Trevor Lawrence, which is kind of a red flag in the college draft.
He's the exact one day apart from Trey Lance for a reference point. He's pretty close in age to Trevor Lawrence. Jalen Hurts is probably a year and a half older than him, but he's relatively old. My take personally is these quarterbacks are playing older and older. Why the fuck do you care if they're 25? Like, that's an athletic thing. You want to get the young, athletic, raw project to get that peak output. For a quarterback, you want the mind. And what you're seeing with Penix is clearly a more advanced mind.
And that was a Texas home game, pretty much.
Yeah, the crowd was totally Texas.
You want to talk about JJ McCarthy. He's an NFL he's like the third quarterback consensus.
He should come back.
Whatever
to school,
that means.
He should come back to school.
When you compare,
there's still a lot of balls where I thought that.
You look at the draft rankings. Penix is like very much not on the same level as JJ McCarthy from a draft prospect, which is crazy.
Just insane, because sometimes you see McCarthy airmails a lot of balls.
I think part of it is the age, part of it's the injury history.
Yeah, the injury
Penix.
thing would be the thing that would scare me more than the age.
But they protect the quarterback, and he doesn't really look to use his legs a ton anymore. It's still a weapon, but it's not like it's part of his game. I would say that he's going to be the quarterback that, like, by default, he's going to enter the stage with this game and the championship game. When he shows out again, it's going to vault him into the first round, and people are going to be shocked when he's outperforming Drake May or Caleb Williams early in his career, because he's fucking old and he's done it, and he's dealt with adversity, and he's changed programs, and he understands how to change a system. Like, there's things that he's done that these other kids have not done. And even if you compare it to old guys who have been at one situation, it's part of the reason I think Bo Nix could be randomly successful. Again, I think going through the horrible adversity, bouncing back, recovering at a big time program, and then being ready for the moment because you're fucking old. And for a quarterback, having a developed mind is what matters. So, do I want the Giants to take Michael Penix?
Yes, Ryan, weigh in.
There is the element of like lefty versus righty and how your offensive. No, I would say definitely wouldn't be bummed if they took him, but I don't think I don't think they're gonna draft that. Based on who they've been drafting so far.
He's not a New York quarterback, if you know what I'm saying.
Tyrod's on the team. I mean, you're Tyrod and Danny DeVito, aka Tommy DeVito, are on the team.
And they were doing everything they could not to play him, including trumping up this fake Tommy DeVito USFL wannabe.
Yeah, I don't know. You think he's a first rounder now?
Penix, yeah. Someone will take him in.
They're gonna eat his release, like his ball. It's gonna be a slow release.
But the thing that stands out to me is how poised he is.
Yeah,
he can.
That's why I'm saying he's gonna go later because of these things. He's not the.
Someone will trade up into the first round and get him at the end. That's my early draft prediction.
Yeah, and he's very elusive. Like, he's poised. Like, Texas, they didn't have any sacks. Texas, they said, maybe had the best defensive line in college football. I think Michigan proved that to be incorrect. But Texas didn't have any sacks, and a lot of that they did get through. I know Washington's O-line is really good, but Texas got through on a couple times. But he's such a wild card because he can step to the left, step to the right. I know you didn't rush for a ton of yards in the regular season, which, by the way, I did hit the higher on his rushing yards. I knew that would be a bigger element to this game, and especially with Dylan Johnson getting injured, we don't know his status right now. In the Michigan game, I think that could be a huge X factor for the Huskies.
I'll give you my prediction on where he goes. Just complete hunch.
All right. While you're
Tampa Bay Bucks.
Oh, okay.
He's from Tampa.
Oh, okay.
From Tampa, they're gonna have a pick in the range towards the end of the middle to the end of the first round.
Clip it.
Baker not necessarily locked in long term.
I don't think. Maybe if Bruce Arians has his way, if you remember, go back to the preseason. They were talking
about negotiating a new deal for Baker.
If you go back to the preseason, there are some funny interviews with Bruce Arians being like insanely no longer a coach on the team. Very excited Baker's in town. Yes. So,
hey, Little C's. Have you guys gotten some Little Caesars lately? If not, what are you waiting for? Little Caesars, the official pizza sponsor of the National Football League. Love some Little C's. You got to make it part of your game day, including the pepperoni with the pretzel crust. Love me some Little C's with that pepperoni piled high, that golden buttery brown crust with the salt sprinkles. Love it. Delicious. You can order online during our Pizza pregame 1 hour before and 3 hours after NFL kickoffs, plus all day Sunday. That's right. All day Sunday. And we got the playoffs coming up. Perfect time to get down on some pretzel crust and some pizza. You can get it delivered or the in-store pizza portal pickup. Grab some friends and enjoy a few slices during the game. Little Caesars pizza. Oh, we got FCS to talk about. Right?
Yeah, I figured, a cool off period. Colby and a lather over the Invitational. And for some reason they made us wait a week for the subdivision. Oh wait, what's this? Real quick. I just want to break in to show Daquan the Great in the chat.
Shout out to him.
I live in Tampa and we all hate Baker at the bar.
Really? I thought he would be a cool guy at the bar. I mean, I like old Baker, but it seemed like since he got humbled, he's seemingly more cool, but that's just an outsider perspective.
And unrelated, Ryan Hasty is ordering some pretzel crust right now.
Oh, hell yeah. It's a plus EV opportunity, Ryan.
I don't want to, I guess this is probably sacrilegious, but we may have been some homemade pretzel crust type creation.
Really?
I just took these like pieces of pretzel. We had some old stale pretzel bread and we basically turned it into like cheesy garlic bread.
Sounds fun.
And I threw a little marinara on mine.
Yeah, of course.
Came from
this is good. Could use a little marinara.
It came from a jar. Oh, have you never eaten a tomato like an apple? Is that
yes, I have. Well, no, I slice it up.
Big fan of tomatoes.
But you've eaten a tomato as an apple.
Yeah, I'm a big tomato guy.
Yeah, as the main course of a meal, you sprinkle a little salt on it.
I ain't no bet detective here. All right.
Yeah, CJ hates tomatoes. Don't understand it.
If you come to California, 1 out of 4 people you meet will say they despise tomatoes, and it's always because of the texture. I don't get it. Anyway, yeah, I've been told before it's weird to eat a tomato like an apple. FCS Championship game. Not a tomato or an apple. Where are we playing this one?
Frisco, Texas.
John, we've been here before.
Yeah,
great city of Frisco. Where they, the stereotype of the water towers in Texas, it's not fake at all. It's very authentic. A lot of nice looking water towers around Frisco. Montana, South Dakota State, they come to meet, as Sean's been pointing out. South Dakota State looking ahead all the way to the championship game. Hopefully they're focused on this one. 11 a.m. on Sunday.
This is an epic fail, but this is where the TV execs are in charge. And
hold on.
No, seriously, like ESPN.
Wait, so this
and ABC, they were waiting to release this. I paid close attention to this over the summer.
Okay, you've been tracking this story.
Well, because they did this last year, and the years prior they'd put it on Saturday. I don't know what the fuck they're doing. Like, I don't know why the FCS like. What are they thinking? Play this as the lead up to the national championship on Monday, or play it on Saturday. It makes no sense to play this in the middle of
pregame for the national championship.
Wouldn't that be
awesome.
Great? Wouldn't that be great?
Or Saturday leading up to the Saturday NFL games.
Think about it. Yeah. They play the little kids at halftime. Why not have the FCS right before?
Oh yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
In the same building. Colby probably wouldn't like that, but Sean,
this is stupid.
Sean, just stupid. Here's some games they'll be going up against. Hate week, Falcons Saints.
Oh, for the NFC South.
Yep. We got a Vikings Lions matchup with less to matter. Now we got Belichick versus the Jets. That's always fun to watch. Baker for all the marbles. What are we doing here? And the
playoff implications on the line. You cannot go head to head with the NFL. I mean, this is insane.
They could have picked basically a million times.
Why would you why would you want to do that? Because the NFL gets like 1 trillion views every year.
Well, here you want me to workshop it for you, because ESPN probably has the games on Saturday in the NFL.
That's probably it.
And so they're like, and when they got this big game where they're going to be doing programming all day for the national championship on Monday anyway. So you know what? Right after our pregame show, we'll kick it over to the FCS Championship pregame.
Why couldn't you just do it on Monday then?
Makes no sense.
Yeah,
because they're going to have 5 channels dedicated to watching everything about the national championship.
Here's Pat McAfee, back of his head cam.
I love that they put Pat McAfee on the field level, where you can't see shit at a football game, and they're like, "All right, Pat, talk about the game.
Have fun. Do your McAfee
I like the idea, but it's like you got. No,
I like McAfee. It's just funny.
Get him in a.
Where's the gambling version? Well, and our number is phone's waiting to ring.
It's just so unorganized and so dumb. Like part of what to me saves college football is the unorganization of it. But this is so stupid, because also, how about this? If you've ever been to Montana, they have a lot of Denver Bronco and Seattle Seahawk fans, right? So they're going to be engaged in NFL stuff too. They have to make that decision whether they it's just stupid, because your traditional college football fan is an NFL fan.
Listen,
so why mix both?
You're talking to someone who's going to be in fucking Norco on Sunday, hopefully doing the pregame show remote from a fucking horse barn next to some soccer fields. All right, so I understand how to make how to make a hard decision. Yeah, no, this isn't all time, especially when you have a bye week. Why have the bye week?
Yes.
Why have the bye week?
It's even stupider when you look at it like that. You know what I mean?
They went out of their way to compete with the
and in the playoff week, in a pivotal week.
Yeah.
Even if they had done it last week, which is still stupid, but at least that one makes a little more sense.
All right. Well, South Dakota State, because they've been looking ahead and just dominating, they're laying 13 points, 12.5. Oh my God. Minus 500 on the money line, plus 384 Montana. 49.5 is the total. Betting splits courtesy of VSiN.com, Sean. 61% of the bets and 72% of the handle on the Grizz.
Really?
Catching the big number. Not quite a razor. Also worth noting, the total 90% of the bets and handle coming to the over.
Montana has just been on a crazy run, back-to-back overtime games in the FCS playoffs to get here. They won 35-28 and then 31-29. This is I don't know. It's crazy. I want to take this Montana team, but maybe South Dakota State, now that it's the championship game, Ryan, they're finally focused. They're finally locked in.
It's even crazier when you think of the Montana run as in out the gate. They played the Butler Bulldogs and they didn't look good.
Yeah.
They then took down Utah Tech, and then they played Ferris State, who's a D2 school. Ferris State almost beat them, had a fourth down opportunity. Then they made then they lost to Northern Arizona, their only loss of the season in Flagstaff, and then they made a quarterback change. And to me, that's all the difference right there. When they went to Clifton McDowell, a dual threat quarterback, that their whole team has changed since then. Because I thought they were counterfeit through the first month. Ever since they went to Clifton McDowell,
but they are very good at home, and they, what's cool about the FCS playoffs, these games are at home. I worry, does the Montana Grizzly game travel to Frisco, Texas? That's my biggest concern.
Sean, ask me how many times the Montana Grizzlies have failed to cover since the clock turned October 1st.
How many times, right?
One time. They've not covered one time since their game on September 30th, where they failed to cover against Idaho State. You know which game that was, Sean? It was when we took them against Furman. Only game they haven't covered in 3 months.
Yeah, and South Dakota State obviously won the national championship last year. Mark Gronowski is a great quarterback. We got a Gronk 2.0 there, and they almost lost to Montana State, who Montana handled back in week 2. That's really one of the only common opponents you can find here. Obviously, though, South Dakota State looked amazing against Reese Poffenberger and the Albany Great Danes, winning 59-0.
Oh my God, what happened to our boy?
They have the top defense in the FCS, and yeah, I mean they're really good. I think they got multiple NFL players on this offense. But I still think it's too many points. You give Bobby Hawk a couple.
I'm worried though if Montana's become this public dog. and certainly the betting splits early on is suggesting that. Although, how much of the quote unquote betting public is actually betting the FCS championship game? How much of the betting public
on
actually,
an NFL Sunday
actually knows the FCS championship is happening on Sunday? I know we got some hardcore but I mean, can we really, the bets that have come in for the FCS championship are I wouldn't describe them as casual bettors.
How many times has South Dakota State been laying less than 2 touchdowns this season, like they are in this game? Less than 2 touchdowns.
Probably the Montana State game.
Yep, that's the only one.
Yeah.
The only time they've
done ATS.
Well, all of their spreads are 2 touchdowns or more.
Yeah.
The smallest spreads they've had, they did not cover against Montana State, only won by 4 on an 8-point spread. Covered against North Dakota State, 33-16 on a 14-point spread. Covered against South Dakota on a 14.5-point spread, 37-3 on the road. Did not cover against the Salukis, 17-10 on the road. All the other spreads now balloon up to basically 3 touchdowns. So it's hard to even look at a reference point.
They didn't cover against Villanova in the playoffs.
Villanova was a 21-point spread,
and they
did not cover. Yeah, you're right, yeah. But I was trying to look at comparable smaller spreads. I like the minus sign over the plus sign. And I think a lot of people are taking this dog because they don't know shit about the FCS. They think Grizzly Bears is cool as fuck. I mean, don't you agree? Who has the better mascot?
That's a great. The Jackrabbits is a great fucking name. Once again, back to originality. That's why we're here. Fan Gang, part of the Snake Pit.
Let's go Pythons.
I once was off-roading in the deserts of California, and I did run into a jackrabbit being stalked by a bobcat. It's pretty dope.
I think all being said, I think you got to go Montana here.
Ooh.
See, Ryan just looks at the betting splits. That's all his handicapping is.
What do you mean?
No, you're a market dynamics guy.
Colby I saw what happened when we got on Montana last time.
This is different.
They still won that game.
Yeah,
at home.
And Montana's been like a magical story all year.
No, I'm riding the magic. I think they're a live dog too.
Would you say South Dakota State has a good defensive line?
I think they're a very complete football team.
Would you say their defensive line is stout?
I think it's a very good defense. Yes. But I also think it's not in Brookings, South Dakota. It's in Frisco, Texas. And Bobby Hawks won an FCS national championship before at Montana.
All right, let's go.
Clifton McDowell, and keep an eye on the Junior Bergen. You seen this guy? He has I feel like a kick return or punt return for a touchdown every fucking week. I'm on the Grizz plus the points. Sprinkle a little bit on the money line.
I'm gonna be on
Grizz are live Bears, baby.
I'm going to take the South Dakota State Jackrabbits. I'd also sprinkle them on the money line.
Let's go.
Oh wow, minus 500 money line play.
Yep.
No, that's sharp if I ever heard it.
Maybe we'll tie it to another money line coming up.
Hey, have you guys signed up with Hall of Fame bets? If not, what are you waiting for? Get down on those optimized parlays over at HOPENY.com. Download the app. Use the promo code SGPN. Get 50% off your first month. Download the Hall of Fame Bets app or visit HOFBets.com. They got you covered there, making research very easy. And of course, Underdog Fantasy. You can get down on some CFB action, aka college football, of course, NBA, NHL, NFL. They really got it. They got you covered. Well, I'm sure we're taping a college basketball episode later on. We'll give out some CBB plays there. But I'm already seeing they already have stuff up for the national championship game. Of course, UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code SGPN. Ooh, this is interesting. Michael Penix, anytime touchdown.
Higher.
That is
oh no, wait.
It's a 2x spicy.
No. I want passing touchdown.
Okay, passing touchdown set at 2.
Ooh.
Colby, any thoughts here on
spice on
Underdog?
That?
No.
Yeah.
JJ McCarthy, spicy 2x on an anytime touchdown.
How many touchdowns did he pass for against Texas? 3?
Well, actually, yeah, they got to the 1 yard line, and Dylan Johnson had a couple rushing touchdowns.
2 is a big number.
Yeah. I'll go.
I mean, if I'm doing anything, I'm going higher. I mean,
yeah, give me that higher.
I mean, we're not.
Give me that higher.
We're just not lower dudes.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
We're not
that higher.
All right. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code SGPN. I'm sure we'll tweet out some as well when it gets closer here to kickoff. But we got Huskies, we got Wolverines. Kramer, what's the spread?
My I was sorry. I was getting a little distracted by my underdog balance. It's been pretty nice lately.
Oh yeah, I mean that what was it? 25-1 we hit on the pregame show. Hit one with Colby. It was a great. I mean, I did what was it 10-6 in the NFL? Didn't hit my locks, but the touchdown stuff I hit, and then the underdog stuff was just two massive cash outs.
Best ball cashes me out. I immediately withdraw the majority of it. Reload, get some of those pick'ems in. We hit that 25-1 bang.
Oh, that was so awesome.
That was 100 to win 2,500, and then we reinvested a number of those dollars back in. But then with Colby,
yeah,
we did a little NFL college basketball. We got weird, and we nailed that one with that kid from Cal. All right. Huskies, which by the way, if you, I'm sure Colby saw this. He's a big fan of dogs. The Washington Husky was looking cool AF with those aviators on after the win last night.
Shout out to those Texas fans talking shit to the Washington team as they were leaving.
Can I ask one thing as we expand the college football playoff, that we start to remind the teams that we have more games to play? And also, we should remind the bowl games. Maybe we don't drop confetti when there's still business to be had. I get it. Conference,
you only drop confetti if it's in a dome, and football shouldn't be played.
Conference
in a dome,
championship.
So
all right, but what Washington, Michigan, they head down to Houston. Just nothing screams college football like Houston, Texas. But when I think about college football, I just
think of that great diner I took you to in Houston.
What's the ideal city for a college football championship?
SoFi Stadium, beautiful Los Angeles,
LA. It's the culture here is pretty strong.
Trying to piss me off.
Oh, okay.
It's Rose Bowl, Sun Bowl, something classic. You know what I mean? Even.
But like also location. Don't you need it to be in like a place that loves college football?
No.
Okay.
No, you don't.
All right.
No.
Colby says the Rose Bowl. Official answer. His favorite place on the planet.
No, I do believe like the Rose Bowl. Like Kirk Herbstreit tweeted that out, saying they should make that the national championship every year. You never have to
Rose
worry.
Bowl?
You never have to worry about the sun going down if it's the only fucking game.
Yeah.
And it makes sense to me, and I'm on board with it.
You make your deal with the devil.
Yeah.
Like, what does the Rose Parade have on everyone?
Yeah,
they control time. Are you like, think about it? They're controlling time over this like massive $1 billion enterprise because they want the sun to set.
So make the Rose Bowl the championship, like the Super Bowl.
It's got a massive.
Do it every year.
How many seats are in there? 100,000.
Yeah. 100,000. Don't run out of vodka like you did at the Jay-Z concert.
You gotta be careful. Actually, Sean and I were there one time where they ran out of water.
Oh my god! That's still Colby was there briefly, but that was still the worst hangover I've ever had because we drank a ton in the pregame, and then it was like, all right,
very early.
I'll sober up during the game. And then I wait in a really long line for a water, and they're like, "No, we don't have any water." But they did have spiked Topo Chico, which is like, bubbly water with alcohol. And that was the closest. So I drank that instead of water, and I cannot. That was the hardest my head's hurt from a hangover in a long time.
Look, if you're gonna do an NFL stadium, I do like Daquan's Arrowhead angle because it's in the middle of the country. I mean, look, Lambeau would be great too, but Arrowhead's fantastic. It's middle of the country. It's kind of neutral to everything. That'd be cool too. If you're gonna go NFL stadium, to me, that's the one to do it. One of the ones to do it.
I think at this point we're not going back to playing the national championship in a regular stadium.
Yeah,
they're not going to play in a baseball stadium like you're
too corporate.
Candlestick Park.
This is what happens when you let filthy fucking JCPenney money come in there, Sean. You know
Sean
what I mean?
and I once went to a Ravens-Niners game at Candlestick Park where we sat in a suite and still had just comment. Like if Campus Tour was around, he could have come to our suite and we had basically an obstructed view.
Yeah,
it was
a suite and obstructive view is crazy.
And Candlestick was awesome.
Leaving the game, we almost saw
the actual field. The actual field was incredible at Candlestick.
Baseball fields are the worst football fields, Colby. This is your worst thing.
No, you're terrible.
Michigan laying 4.5, -200 on the money line. Washington +170, 55.5 is the total. When we look at the betting splits, Sean, if you had to guess, who's the public side right now?
Well, I know it's Michigan because it opened at 4 and then
Well, per VSiN, and which is DraftKings, 60% on Washington. Handle is split right down the middle. 50,
well, it opened at 4, so I don't know what they're. Now maybe that's
this
people
is why,
taking it once it gets 4.5. You always got to take the betting splits grain of salt, but
especially early in the week. But to your point, though, I think the number. So here's what's strange to me. This is the same spread we were dealing in Texas, Washington.
Yeah.
Are we saying Texas and Michigan are the same team? Because if not, then it seems like there would be value on Michigan in a vacuum. The problem is that I thought Washington should have been favored last week. And so then this makes this spread more reasonable. I don't understand how they can be the same. Was
comically off with Washington, but this spread feels about right. I mean, I think they opened it at 4. That seems like the good number. Colby's point. I mean, Michigan's defense played very, very well against Alabama. Now, Alabama's passing offense obviously nowhere near what Washington is. Here's what I'm going back and forth on. I feel like if I take Michigan, I'm going to feel like I'm an idiot going against Penix as a dog one more time. If I take Washington, I'm going to feel stupid for fading this Michigan defense. It is in the dome, which I do think helps Washington more than Michigan.
Definitely helps Washington,
right?
Definitely helps
the
Washington.
Speed that they have.
Oh my goodness! This is the nature of the playoff is just not good for Michigan. Like a team like Michigan.
Can they slow down Odunze, Colby? Michigan's defense.
Well, I mean, they have the second best pass defense in the country. The question is have they played elite quarterback play? No. They have not, and that to me, another thing that's really underrated about Washington is their offensive line won the Joe Moore Award for the best offensive line in the country. They're not Alabama. We knew had a flawed offensive line coming into the game. I think Washington.
I mean, look at their center. My God.
Yeah.
All right. So correct me.
I can't even snap the ball.
I know. Like the most for a guy who's one of the greatest college football coaches of all time.
Yeah,
you can't coach up a center.
He didn't have anyone else.
But that's been an issue all year.
Ongoing thing. Yeah. That makes it even more inexcusable. You're either coaching or you're allowing it to happen, Nick Saban.
Nope. You sound like the Giants fans talking about Bobby Johnson right now. Fire that asshole.
Fire him into the sun.
Yeah. It does seem like there's a very easy path to why is Washington played a harder schedule. Washington has the
best player in college
infinitely
football.
More to your point, it's not basketball, but they have the best player on the field.
And Washington's a top 10 team on 3rd down and 4th down, and I think that
they also have the best quarterback.
Huge. Well, that's what I mean. He's cool and collected. He's been in college 30 years. So,
but Odunze is the best player.
Mr. Heat with a good point in the chat saying Michigan had problems with Maserati Marv.
Well, that's
Marv
the thing.
Harrison,
and
5 for 118 and the touchdown when they played Michigan,
and that was with Kyle Honda McCord, and that's what I'm saying.
That's a great nickname.
That's what I'm saying. So with Michael Penix there, who actually, by the way, the last time he played Jim Harbaugh in Michigan won at Indiana. Michael Penix beat him.
I was going to say there's history here, right?
Good nugget.
They've played a few times. Yeah,
is the Washington coordinators? He's the Indiana guy, right?
Well, he was the Indiana OC for I think 1 year.
Oh, okay. So there's only one game of him versus Michigan,
and they won, I believe. Yeah.
In general, when Penix was there, they often gave the top teams trouble because they could score points.
Yeah, and I just think in general, like if you give Ohio State a better quarterback, go back and watch that game. That was at Michigan. This is going to be in a dome. But then also the fact that McCord did miss on some of those passes.
Here's the non-football part of the handicap too. Will we hear about Mr. Harbaugh and the NFL more as the game approaches?
Don Yee, his agent. Now, Ryan.
No, the Bears are retaining their coach though. No.
Yeah, but really
totally normal to hire a brand new agent. At the end of the season. He did do it
a few weeks ago, though. To be fair,
well, at the
ESPN publishing it.
When did it happen?
Like a month ago.
Oh, okay.
But I thought it was convenient that ESPN dropped it this week. He hired a new agent. It's like they're trying to create the distraction.
Yeah, of course, but it's going to be a distraction. Maybe it doesn't matter because it's like Harbaugh's like he's been nailed to a cross and he's
Don Yee is pretty connected to the Raiders organization. If you remember, Ryan. We're friends with a big time Michigan alum who owns a casino, and there was some rumblings about, hey, is Harbaugh going to come to town? Now that's the Raiders situation may have changed with Antonio Pierce. but I would not be surprised if Harbaugh leaves. I think the Raiders are.
He's got connections to the Davis family.
Yeah. Don Yee is, of course,
was his dad.
Was also Brady's agent. Brady is now a partial owner of the Las Vegas Raiders.
So, but it could just be random that he hired this new agent.
No, he is a big agent. So
Joe says need Colby to pick Michigan so the Huskies can pull this off. Buddy, I just went undefeated on my fucking picks in the playoffs, and I would like to just say that my handicaps I think were fucking spot on.
Colby the handicapper is one of the greatest.
Spot on.
Greatest. I never saw it coming.
I've started parking in the handicap spots downstairs, man.
Oh wow, that's a great. I'm here to post my whale play, and it's just a bit where you like park and handicap.
The ultimate handicap.
I'm the world's greatest handicapper.
We're gonna do that. We're gonna do that as a bit. We're gonna park at that handicap spot, and then I'm just come out and say, take Washington the points, sprinkle the money line.
I'm so great. I got a parking spot at every Latin American.
We need to get like a sticker that says like ultimate and just put it ultimate handicap.
We get that in the merch store.
Do the handicap sign. You know what I mean?
But the guy is holding he's holding like some tickets or some cash. Oh, we should get a handicap. All right, so what?
Can we get a sign for the office? Handicapper accessible.
Handicapper parking.
I want to get a car where I can come out. We need the elevator. The elevator where I'm just giving pics as I go out of the van on the elevator. Let's go. I think we just stumbled upon something genius.
I like handicapper parking, and it's the guy in the chair with but he's holding some money.
He's leaning forward with some tickets in his hands.
I'm on Washington money line though, man. I'm taking Washington. I think.
How do you not take Washington?
I just who do you trust the most right now? Like I trust Michael Penix to make the right decision at the right time. I know we can build a case for Michigan having success on the ground against Washington. I'm actually fascinated by this matchup because I think it's one team styles completely different than the other teams. Obviously, pay attention to the Dylan Johnson thing. I think the key is Michael Penix's legs. I think he's going to have to run for more than 30 yards again in this game on some critical third downs.
That's some great handicapping, talking about someone's legs, Colby. Yeah, and I agree. I think Penix in a dome, the receivers are just going to give this Michigan team fits. And even Dick Puncher in the chat saying, yeah, Penix is going to beat them deep at least once, or there's going to be some time. And you also have the back door. Michigan's up 2 scores. They're up 10 points, 11 points.
Yeah.
And there's a minute left in this dome. They're going to be sitting back. And I think you just have to, because of the speed, because of their passing ability, Washington plus 4.5.
Can I note that if Dylan Johnson's,
I'm a little worried about it though.
If Dylan Johnson's injured, right. One of the things I think Kalen DeBauer does great. You saw this, if you watched last night's game, you'll see that Dylan Johnson didn't light it up. So I know he's been he had 2 rushing touchdowns, but if you actually dive into his stats, he only rushed for 49 yards on 21 carries, 2.3 yards a rush. So what he does though, you think that they can't run the ball. He does all these little tiny wide receiver screens and
West Coast.
Yeah, but that it's running. He's running.
Yeah.
With his wideouts essentially. And I think he can do that again and get super creative with that. And also Penix obviously rushing on key. There was a big third down in the game last night. He ran for 14-yard run, shit like that. He ran a lot at Indiana. He hasn't ran that much this year. 1 game left for all the marbles. I think he's going to be running.
Yeah. And let me see if they have the Underdog fantasy projection, because you're right. Guy in championship. I like that in general as a handicap, but when the game's on the line, you see it all the time in the playoffs, taking the over or the higher on rush yards. So his rushing yards aren't up yet, but it does make me kind of intrigued on his higher half rushing receiving touchdown. That's a spicy play at 2x over an Underdog fantasy. Cause I do think, to your point, Colby, back against the wall, he's going to run. I mean,
he ran more against Texas than he did all year.
Yeah. Cause it's a must win game. And you could even apply the same, I think, to JJ McCarthy. His total is sitting, or projection sitting at 15.5 rushing yards. So.
Oh, I loved the design quarterback sweeps that Michigan were doing. I think only makes that offense more dangerous. And if I'm Harbaugh and Sharon Moore, keep working that into your offensive philosophy, because that adds just another weapon besides their strong running attack with both running backs, and then obviously they have great tight end play and decent wide out play. You start adding that to the mix. Yeah, I'm with you. I'm on the over on both rushing quarterbacks.
Dick Puncher saying I left out the part about how what Michigan's gonna do to Washington. Yeah, I was just picking and choosing what I see in the chat and deciding to use to help build my case. I don't know if they're man. I don't know if I'm going to play at money line, but
I mean, look, Michigan just beat Alabama. They think they kind of won the national championship.
You think they were celebrating a little bit?
A little bit overtime too. A little overtime action.
Are you kidding me? Did you watch? Again, I understand they're college kids and they're allowed to celebrate wins. Brad Ward keeps giving me shit that they're allowed to celebrate a semifinal win. The speed at which they rushed the field was strange, and I'm going to stand by my words. I've been hyper focused on the rushing the field.
Well, I think you're.
That was a crazy celebration. Like I hope they didn't bust the Harbaugh is our Lord and Savior, and we overcame all this adversity. Because boy, they look excited to win that game. It wasn't Georgia. They'd been working so hard. They got every day they're going to the gym. They're working out with that picture of the hot broad on spring break. And they're like, yeah, Georgia. And then Georgia's not there, but they fucked the shit out of this Alabama team. And then, you get Washington. That's not exciting. It's not a letdown spot, but it's a letdown spot.
And you get an all Big Ten national championship next year.
Well, it's overtime.
SEC's gotta hate this.
It's overtime, and it did feel like that was a pretty emotional game in the Rose Bowl. Just so much. I don't know. In a weird way, Washington kind of just went in there and just took care of business. Like I don't know. It didn't have to do as much to get the win.
What? Unrelated.
I don't know how much that carries over next week.
Is Herb Street jamming his dog down everyone's throat?
Oh, I have a theory on this.
Is that a new thing?
No. Here's why.
Oh, don't hate me. I'm a dog owner.
So after he shit on Florida State, and basically,
everyone hated him.
Yeah, everyone hated him. So he did the classic Disney move. What do?
Yeah,
got to do it. Look, people hate us right now. Let's do a dog movie, right? Yep. Boom. That's what you got to do. And now he's got his golden retriever everywhere. And I see through your lies out there. All right. I see through your lies.
I saw the way some of those grips were looking with that dog running around. They were a little uneasy. You heard the story.
They denied college football campus tour credentials to the Rose Bowl, but Herb Street's fucking dog got credentials.
Yes. Now how is that journalism?
I was gonna add something to the conversation and it's left me.
It's smoking my weed.
Yeah, I don't know. It struck me as a little odd that they're really going out of their way to crowbar the dog.
He's trying to be loved again. He knows he's the enemy now.
Why does he care? You got the
Public
Amazon Prime bag. He doesn't give a shit. All right. You want to give the people a lock?
Yep. Lock it up. Colby, what do you like? Or Kramer, you go first. What's
Washington.
Your lock? Okay.
I don't quite. Sometimes you just gotta look a gift horse in the mouth. Is that what this? I don't want to make the comparisons because Sean's gonna make fun of me.
Yes,
and it's definitely for different reasons. But there is an aspect of every game I've watched of Washington where someone is picking the other team to win, whether it's both Oregon games.
Yeah,
or it's this semifinal.
They were
game.
like 8. What were they? 7-point dogs.
Reminds me a little bit of a New York Giants team.
Oh my god!
From a decade and a half ago. Again, in what matchup are you worried about this team? Again, they're coming into a situation where everyone's gonna be focused on the Michigan defense, but their offense probably feels pretty good, pretty confident, and it's probably a lot more confident than the outside world. And so, you could say wrong team favored. I understand why Michigan's favored here, but they both went undefeated. One team played in a better conference. So I'm not really sure how you can even say that.
And
Washington
I think the dome favors them.
Yeah. I think if this game was outdoors or even, obviously in Michigan, outdoors, anything else, but in a dome, I think you could talk me into taking Michigan. But the fact that this offense gets to play in a dome again, give me Washington plus 4.5. Lock it up.
It's flawed. It's the same algorithms that gave you 10 points when they were playing Oregon on a neutral.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Like, clearly they're not like. There's clearly some aspect to their defense that is a little bit more situation and matchup based that doesn't come through as on the numbers. It makes them look bad, and also just the stuff that you can't measure with Penix. You trust he's going to get the job.
Oh, done. You can measure his Penix.
Yeah, you could. Like to me,
Cox.
You can go all the way to that handicap. JJ McCarthy versus Mr. Penix.
Yeah.
Who do you want?
Colby, what are you doing?
Look downstairs, Sean. I am parked in the handicap section. If you check out the rear view mirror, I have a piece of paper saying Washington money line as so that is my handicap pass.
Wait, so that wasn't a metaphor. You're not. I didn't know if you meant downstairs, like on your body is handicapped.
No.
Your car, okay, just checking.
I'm having a son soon.
No, I didn't know if you were talking about your dick.
I got stats.
Dick punch.
I got stats. All right.
Dick punchers in the chat. I didn't know.
No, I'm on Washington too, man. And look, why not? Why not do a little parlay with the Montana Grizz, Sean? Huh?
Oh, so you like a Grizzlies? Of course, Colby's going to be on a Grizzlies Huskies money line.
So get this: 2 years ago, COVID season, or no, 2021, the year after COVID season, the Montana Grizzlies upset the Washington Huskies in Seattle. Both of them win the national championship. On those rosters are filled with a lot of the same players. Let's go.
Love it.
I do think that there has been documentation of Bears and Huskies getting along.
There we go. What about Wolverines?
Well, no, absolutely not.
Wolverines and Jackrabbits.
I don't know if a Wolverine, a Jackrabbit's pretty big. I don't know if a Wolverine's gonna be able to.
Yeah, those big ass ears.
Jackrabbits, they live in the fucking desert with a lot of killers around them. Just put it that way. They know how to scrap. You know what I mean? They got giant fucking ears. If you've never seen one, it's remarkable. It's like a cartoon character.
Hey, we'll be back shortly over at youtube.com/sportsgamblingpodcast talking college basketball. Woo, heater on a little bit of a heater with the locks. You're going to want to tune in for that. Of course, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/HGP. Get it on the Hockey Gambling Podcast hoodie giveaway. Subscribe to the college basketball experience
every night, man. Every night.
Yes, every night. And if you want a gift card on the New Year's Rockin' Eve, stay tuned. Those emails are going out soon. So
thank you for participating in the Sports Gambling Podcast.
For the Sports Gambling Podcast, I'm Sean, stacking the money green. He's Ryan.
It says right here on Wikipedia, the Wolverine has a reputation for being a wannabe private school pussy.
Kramer, let it ride.